This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live stream will start very... Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. You join me on this Tuesday afternoon, the 11th of August, 2026. It's very nice to have you with me, and I hope you are all doing well today. What we've got for you coming up today is a video on my own personal YouTube channel. We're going to review some classics that took place at the end of May and in early June 2026, part of our ongoing Classic Watch 26 review of the classics. I'm going to show you 6 races here. We're going to take a look at the performance of all the Classic Watch 26 identified horses in the said races, if there were any. We're going to take a look at 6 races today. But before we talk about them more, you know, I always like to mention my own personal Patreon channel in these YouTube videos, because I do think there might be something for you over on Patreon and you might be missing out. Especially if you're a fan of national hunt racing. You know, the vast majority of all the national hunt racing now takes place over on the Patreon channel, which is called Newman Racing. It's also the place where you will find all the yearly reviews as well. I've actually just uploaded 3 videos onto Patreon last week, all taking a look at all of the Southern Hemisphere action and releasing the 2-year-olds I am currently watching in the Southern Hemisphere season, which starts around now. It was the first pattern race of the year in Australia last week, the Missile Stakes, and they've already had some pattern races in Argentina. They start a little bit earlier in the month of July. New Zealand, Australia and South Africa, they start in August, I think. So that is definitely the place to head over to Patreon for that sort of stuff. There's always an opportunity there as well to support me over on Patreon if that is the thing you like to do. With some of your content creators, there is an option for you to do that, although it is no way compulsory, and the platform, I think, is more than usable as a free platform if you want to join as a free member. The main thing is I think you should go and head over to Patreon and Newman Racing just to see if it is for you and to see if it can help you, because I would hate for you to miss anything. Right, now we're going to review some classics here on the YouTube channel. Like I said, we've got 6 races for you. One of them took place in the end of May 2026. And that will start the video. We're going to take a look at the French Derby taking place at Chantilly. Then we're going to move on to a race we haven't looked at before. It's another fillies 3-year-old race from America. We're going to take a look at the Acorn Stakes, a race this year held at Saratoga, I think. The next race we're going to take a look at after that is we're going to go back to the UK. And we're going to take a look at the UK Oaks, a race that took place at Epsom. And then later on that day, we're going to switch continents altogether, and we're going to take a look at the last Classic Watch 26 Classic of the Southern Hemisphere cycle, which is the Queensland Oaks that took place at Eagle Farm out in Queensland. And then we're going to look at another 2 races. We're going to go back to the UK and Epsom and take a look at the UK Derby, one of the flagship classics, I think, in the Classic Watch season. We will watch that as well from Epsom. And then we're going to end the video with another trip to the USA. And we're going to take a look at the last classic on the official Triple Crown list in America, the Belmont Stakes, which this year, again, for the final time, was held at Saratoga. So plenty of action coming up in this video, and I don't really want to waste any of your time than I have to. So without further ado, we're going to get cracking, I think. We're going to go right the way back to the end of May and take a look at the French Derby. Classic Watch 26, as you would expect for a race of this nature. Plenty of entrants. We had Constitution River, the Aidan O'Brien trained horse. We had another one from Aidan O'Brien, Hawk Mountain. Darizan, who turned up from the Aga Khan yard after just 1 run, was also in the race, as was our leading German 2-year-old from last season, the Darius Racing owned Gostin. We had Hankelo turn up, who was placed in the French 2,000 guineas earlier in the review. And completing our team was Pearled Majesty, a recent trial winner out in France. So we have plenty of horses to keep an eye on in this French Derby. And with 6 races, 6 runners, it's fair to say that Classic Watch 26 was throwing a fair few horses at the race as well. It's fair to say. So without further ado, let's take a look at the French Derby, shall we? And then we will see what we think after the race.
They're ready to go, and they're off. And one of the first ones away was Gostam with Komarebi right there. Hankelo's up along the inside. Oxygen, Constitution River is widest of all on the extreme right. Hawk Mountain is racing prominently, and Montreal is stepping forward. So it is Montreal and Hankelo, followed by Oxygen, with Pearl Majesty just in behind the leaders. Gostam is next from Hawk Mountain. Up along the rail is Dol Milan. Spot the noseband for Dol Milan. Further back to Gusto. Constitution River there to the wide outside. Towards the back is Darizan, and Seagal is one of the back markers along with Alam. And it is Montreal who makes the running. Leads by about a length, and the Aidan O'Brien horses are well to the fore. Hawk Mountain disputes second place with Hankelo Yellow Jacket to the inside. Constitution River is out wide. Then Pearl Majesty, followed by Dol Milan and Oxygen. They are ahead of Gostam in mid-division with Gusto. Then Canadian, who's currently 3 wide. Further back then to Darizan on the inside. Composite is rather keen. Komarebi is off the pace. Blue Jacket. Then comes a boy named Susie, followed then by Seagal, and Alam is plumb last as Montreal takes them along. Leads by about 3 lengths to Hawk Mountain in second place with around about 700 metres to go. Constitution River is a length further back in third. Hankelo 4. Then Pearl Majesty, followed by Dol Milan on the inside. They're about to turn in at the top of the straight. Montreal is going for home from Hawk Mountain in second. Constitution River is giving chase. Then Pearl Majesty, followed by Hankelo. Dol Milan to the outside. Oxygen trying to make a race of it. 300 metres out, and it is Montreal, Hawk Mountain, and Constitution River. Aidan O'Brien trifecta, 200 metres from home. Constitution River now noses to the front, to the outside. Montreal is on the rail. Hawk Mountain boxing on gamely between horses. Constitution River is just in front. Constitution River wins the Prix Du Jockey Club. Hawk Mountain and Montreal close call for places, and it was close in behind for fourth. But it's a 1, 2, 3 for the Ballydoyle Maestro. Constitution River, the winner of the Qatar Prix Du Jockey Club. So Constitution River has won it. Constitution River has gone on to win the Qatar Prix Du Jockey Club, and Constitution River wins by around about half, maybe 3 parts of a length. Brilliant performance from Ballydoyle. Hawk Mountain, Montreal in a...
What a benefit that was, it's fair to say. For Ballydoyle and trainer Aidan O'Brien, a 1-2-3 home in the Prix Du Jockey Club of 2026, the French Derby. More importantly, we had a Classic Watch 1-2 there. A 1-2 for my little website, Classic Watch 26, to open the video. We're going to take a look now at the participants and the result. First home on the day was Constitution River, a horse sired by Wootton Bassett out of a mare called Chuppy, who herself is sired by Le Havre. Constitution River trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ryan Moore. A racing post rating of 122 was good enough on the day to take out the French Derby. Second home on the day, another Classic Watch 26 horse, Hawk Mountain, ran a very good race, beaten 3/4 of a length. Hawk Mountain sired, another one sired by Wootton Bassett out of a mare called Hydrangea, who herself is sired by Galileo. Hawk Mountain ridden by Christophe Soumillon on the day, and he ran to a racing post rating of 119. Third home on the day, to complete the 1-2-3 for Montreal, for Aidan O'Brien, was Montreal. Montreal, a non-classic watch horse, sired by See the Stars, out of a mare called Muwakaba, who herself is sired by Elusive Quality. Montreal ridden by Wayne Lorden on the day, and running to a racing post rating of 119. we'll be able to take a look now at the rest of the Classic Watch 26 horses. They were led home by Darizan, who finished in 7th place on only his second start in the Classic. Darizan, sired by Zarak, and out of a dam called Dayakana, who herself was sired by Selkirk. Darizan was trained by Francis Henri Graffard and ridden by Mikel Barcelona, a racing post rating of 114 for finishing 7th. 8th home on the day was our German horse Gostam, Darius Racing owned horse sired by Saxon Warrior, out of a dam called Golania, who herself was sired by Oasis Dream. Gostam trained by Andreas Wohler and ridden on the day by Billy Lochnan, a racing post rating of 113 was gained by Gostam. And 9th home, we had one more after this. 9th home was Pearl Majesty. Pearl Majesty, sired by Persian King, out of a dam called Pearl Dorge, who herself was sired by Le Havre. Pearl Majesty trained by Marciano Delche Sanchez and ridden by Christian de Muro, a racing post rating of 110 was gained by Pearl Majesty. Last home of the Classic Watch horses, a horse that I don't think stayed the trip really, sadly. It was to the fore in the French 2000 guineas, and that was Hankelo. Hankelo can only finish 13th in the French Derby after being placed in the French 2000 guineas. Hankelo sired by Knight of Thunder, out of a mare called Sagaciously, who herself was sired by Lawman. Hankelo, trained by Carl Burke and ridden on the day by Clifford Lee, could only compile a racing post rating of 101 on the day. An interesting race, the French Derby, as always. 5 of the 6 Classic Watch 26 participants will manage to gain top 10 places in that race. So I do think it proved that we had a fair hand on the race. Very satisfying to start the video with a 1-2 in a Classic, courtesy of Constitution River and Hawk Mountain. And congratulations to Aidan O'Brien for basically destroying the French Derby this year. First 3 home. And it's a good job, really, for everybody else that he never ran any more, isn't it, really, looking at the result. Right, the next race we're going to go on to is, like I said, a new race. We haven't looked at this race in any Classic reviews this year. What I'm going to do this year is I'm going to bring you other 3-year-old races that I deem quite important. It's all down to my discernment on what to show you. We saw hints of that the other week when I showed you the other review, in the last review, sorry, when I showed you the Daily News 2000 out in South Africa to end their Southern Hemisphere coverage of Classic Watch 26. We might use other races throughout the season just to keep an eye on the 3-year-old crop a bit more. One division we can do that, definitely, I think, is the 3-year-old fillies. There is only really the Kentucky Oaks out in the US for the 3-year-old fillies. So we're going to definitely look at more 3-year-old fillies races this year from the USA. And the first one we're going to take a look at, to go with the Kentucky Oaks, is the Acorn Stakes, a race that took place in the first weekend of June 2026, held at Saratoga. We're going to take a look at that race now. Again, sadly, Classic Watch 26 only had one USA filly this year, Bella Ballerina. Sadly, missed the Kentucky Oaks through to injury, and she also did not line up in this race as well. So, without further ado, let's take a look, shall we, for the first time in the series at the Acorn Stakes out in America. Again, courtesy of bloodhorse.com, which is the place we get most of our US replays from. The site seems reliable, and so we tend to use it when we can. So without further ado, here is the Grade 1 Acorn Stakes for 3-year-old fillies in the USA. We'll have a look at the race now, and then we will see what we think.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the DraftKings Acorn, and a picture-perfect start right across the track. Maximum Offer is hustled hard on the outside to vie for and take the lead. Counting Stars is up close in the opening furlong, and Meaning is just behind them, a length and a half off the lead. Prom Queen hemmed in, and Always a Runner is just outside of her. They're covered by 4 lengths through the opening quarter mile, and it's Maximum Offer who will show the way, leading by a length. Meaning gets a good tracking position under Juan Hernandez through a quarter that went in 23 and 2/5 seconds. A length and a half back to Counting Stars, who's third, a neck in front of the Kentucky Oaks winner, and undefeated Always a Runner, who has 2.5 lengths to make up. Flavien Prat has a nice hold of Prom Queen. The quintet heads to the half-mile pole with Maximum Offer in front. Meaning is just a neck away. The half went in 47 and 3. Counting Stars is tracking along the rail. Always a Runner just outside of her. Made her move now as they come to the 3/8 pole. And now Always a Runner within a length and a half of the top pair as they head toward the quarter pole. Prom Queen has been at the back throughout. Meaning takes the lead. Always a Runner, her familiar rival, comes to her. Counting Stars angles off the fence. Maximum Offer drops back, and then Prom Queen, 6 furlongs, 1:11 and 2. Always a Runner is up to take the lead, but here's Counting Stars, and Counting Stars unleashes a furious rally and goes right by Always a Runner. A tremendous performance from Counting Stars, who pulls clear for an emphatic victory in the DraftKings Acorn. Always a Runner faced her first defeat today, and Meaning finished third.
Always a Runner, the Kentucky Oaks heroine, beaten in no uncertain terms there, it's fair to say. What a tremendous performance on the day to take out the Group 1 Acorn Stakes there. The horse blew by the rest of them, didn't she, sorry, like they weren't there. An absolutely fantastic performance on the day to take out the Group 1 Acorn Stakes. We will take a look at the result now. The result is definitely worth looking at. And we will do that now. The winner of the day, Counting Stars, a fantastic performance on the day. Oh, I will apologise for the low sound in that video. We got the race from where we got it from. We have no control over things like volume. All we can do is turn them up to the maximum and hope for the best. But the winner on the day was the Mark Cassie train, Counting Stars, sired by Honor AP, out of a dam called Painter by Numbers, who herself was sired by Painter. Counting Stars trained by Mark Cassie and ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr. A Racing Post rating of 118 was secured on the day for a dominant 3 1/4 length victory. Very good performance, it's fair to say. Second on the day was Always a Runner, going down to her first defeat. Always a Runner, sired by Gunrunner, out of a mare called Always Karina, who herself was sired by Malibu Moon. Always a Runner, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Jose Ortiz. A Racing Post rating of 108 was secured for being second. Third place home on the day was Meaning. Meaning, a filly sired by Gunrunner. So a 1-3 for the 2-3, for the stallion Gunrunner in the race. Meaning, sired by Gunrunner, out of a mare called Figure of Speech, who herself was sired by Into Mischief. Meaning, trained by Michael McCarthy and ridden by Juan J. Hernandez. A Racing Post rating of 104. But she was beaten quite easily on the day by the winner, Counting Stars, by 5 3/4 lengths. Counting Stars a credit to her winning connections, West Point Thoroughbreds. A very good performance on the day to take out the Acorn Stakes out in the USA. The next race we're going to move now a few hours further. We're going to stay on the 6th of June. I think that race was the 6th of June anyway. Friday night, sorry. The next race we're going to take a look at is a race we arguably should have shown you before this race, looking at the order that the races are in. So I will apologise for that. We're going to head to Epsom now and take a look at the 3-year-old fillies in the UK Oaks. Classic Watch 27, Classic Watch 26, sorry. That's the trouble when you have too many Classic Watches on the go at the same time. Classic Watch 26 actually had 2 runners line up for it in the UK Oaks this year. We have the Musidora winner, Legacy Link, Juddmonte filly, who won that race very well indeed. And we also had Amelia Earhart, who managed to win a trial for the race in the UK, held at Chester. Another Aidan O'Brien trained runner. We've just seen him have the 1-2-3 in the French Classic. Legacy Link, I think, was trained by John Gosden. So without further ado, let's head to Epsom, shall we now, and take a look at the UK Oaks, and then we will see what we think.
For the Group 1 Betfred Oaks of 2026, they're off. Racing starting at the bottom of the hill in the back straight. Cameo is ridden forward out wide. Also going forward is Sugar Island, her stable companion, and Amelia Earhart not that far behind in the dark blue colours. Venetian Lace is racing between Sugar Island and Cameo as they round a little right-hander. Then on Message, A La Prochaine in the red cap, Amelia Earhart, K. Sarah in the pink cap, Legacy Link. They're tracking across now towards the inside rail, and the white blaze thundering on is the back marker. So Sugar Island making the running here, out in front from Cameo in second place as they continue to climb all the way up towards the 6 furlong marker. Amelia Earhart on the outside in the dark blue jacket. On the inside, just ahead of her, is Venetian Lace and William Buick in the silver silks. They're tracked by On Message and then A La Prochaine, Legacy Link, K. Sarah, and 2 or 3 lengths back to Thundering On. Inside the final mile, swinging slightly left-handed, still a bit more climbing to do, and it's Sugar Island. Looks like she's making this a good test as they race up the hill. Leads by 2.5 lengths to stable companion Cameo and Wayne Lorden. Then on the inside, Venetian Lace, Ryan Moore in that dark blue jacket. On the hooded and blinkered, Amelia Earhart, followed then by A La Prochaine on the rail. On Message, Legacy Link is held up at the back of the field with K. Sarah, and finally Thundering On. Beginning the descent now towards Tattenham Corner, and still it's Sugar Island, shadowed in second by Cameo. Will they come stand side in the home straight? On the inside is Venetian Lace, Amelia Earhart, Ryan Moore in a good position to tack across in 4th place there from A La Prochaine on the inside of On Message. Then Legacy Link, behind those is K. Sarah and Thundering On, and now they straighten up, and Sugar Island still trying to stretch them out in second. Cameo, Amelia Earhart making a beeline towards the outside in that dark blue jacket. Legacy Link coming through smoothly in the pink cap, goes past Cameo. It's Sugar Island from Legacy Link now in the slipstream. Thundering On from the back of the field comes there, cruising in the hands of Dylan Brown McMonagle. Then Amelia Earhart under pressure. Legacy Link, but look at Thundering On, absolutely cantering in second. Legacy Link is going to have to dig in very deep in here indeed, and here now he says go on Thundering On, and Thundering On sweeps on by and is soon clear. Thundering On, Dylan Brown McMonagle for Joseph O'Brien wins the Betfred Oaks, going away from Legacy Link, Sugar Island in 3rd and A La Prochaine in 4th.
What a fantastic performance there by the Joseph O'Brien trained Thundering On. The filly's trotted all over them, hasn't she? She came to the furlong pole with plenty in hand, it's fair to say, with one of our Classic Watch horses, Legacy Link, the runner-up in the race, looking a bit of a sitting duck, it's fair to say, wasn't she? A good battle for 3rd there between Sugar Island and the Wafnan racing horse, but there was no doubt of the winner on the day. Thundering On, a very impressive UK Oaks winner at Epsom. It's fair to say she looked by far and away the best horse in that race, didn't she? And she was given a brilliant ride by her jockey, Dylan Brown McMonagle, on the day. So Classic Watch 26, sadly thwarted in this race, having sadly to settle for only 2nd place with their best runner. But another Classic Watch horse is not really, the Classic runner-up really, not really to be sniffed at, is it? It's fair to say. Legacy Link really has ran a perfectly reasonable race in defeat there. I think she just wasn't as good enough for the winner, was she, on the day? So, without further ado, let's round up the result, shall we, of the UK Oaks. The winner of on the day, Thundering On. Thundering On, a filly sired by Frankel, out of a mare called Thundering Knights, who herself was sired by Knight of Thunder. Thundering On, trained by Joseph Patrick O'Brien, Aidan O'Brien's son, for those who didn't know, and ridden by Dylan Brown McMonigal. A racing post rating of 119 secured on the day, good enough to take out the UK Oaks. We've seen some decent performances in the first three races at the time, haven't we? It's fair to say. Thundering On, owned by Shapur Mistry, out in India. Second home was the first Classic Watch horse home, and the Juddmonte-owned Legacy Link. Legacy Link sired by Jubawi, out of a mare called Chiasma, who herself is a sister to Frankel, who we looked at earlier in the race, siring the winner. Legacy Link also sired by also sired by Galileo. Legacy Link trained by John and Thady Gosden and ridden on the day by Colin King. No match for the winner, 3 3/4 lengths behind. Legacy Link allocated a racing post rating of 111 on the day. Third home was another Aidan O'Brien horse home, so the great man has to settle for a 1-3 in the UK Oaks to follow his 1-2-3 in the French Derby. Sugar Island, another one sired by Jubawi, out of a mare called Heaven on Earth, who again herself was sired by Galileo. Sugar Island trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ronan Whelan. Beaten 9 3/4 lengths, a racing post rating of 101 on the day. Fourth home, beaten ahead, A La Prochaine, sired by Lope de Vega, out of a mare called Margie's Music, who was sired by Hurricane Run, trained by Ralph Beckett, ridden by James Doyle, and owned by Wathnan Racing. The other Classic Watch horse has to go down as a disappointment, really. The 7-4 favourite on the day, Amelia Earhart, could only finish 6th in the race. Amelia Earhart sired by Camelot, out of a mare called Venus de Milo, who herself was sired by Duke of Marmalade. Amelia Earhart beaten 18 1/4 lengths on the day, and a very disappointing racing post rating of only 87 on the day. She only managed to beat 3 home in the race and has to go down as a disappointment. Classic Watch place there, though, for Legacy Link for the Classic Watch 26 site, but unfortunately Thundering On wasn't identified before the race, but she does form part of the Classic Watch team as a consequence of her result in this race, so there might be more of her later on in the next review. Who knows? The next race we're going to take a look at is the last race in the Southern Hemisphere cycle of Classic Watch 26. The race took place at Eagle Farm. The night after the UK Oaks was the Queensland Oaks, a race held over 1 mile and 3 furlongs, like I said, at Eagle Farm. Classic Watch 26 had one runner in it, a horse that had already been placed in an Oaks, Paltrow Miss. So I was hoping for more of the same, maybe a little bit better ahead in this Queensland Oaks. Paltrow Miss placed in a similar race at Morfettville. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the Queensland Oaks at Eagle Farm, and then we will be able to see what we think.
They're ready. Racing. The big field thundered out of the gates and Fringes was a little slowly away. It's a great charge for the early lead. There's Naughty 40 and Kenji Yoshida showing out first. Out wide, Paltrow Miss and Grand Omaha showing speed. And Ryan Maloney has Soverano fourth away. Silver Sister in the leading division. So is Crathy, Kirk and Panda Spectrum. Solid Gold jumped nicely. Settles about 7th or 8 on the rail. Followed then by Fireball Miss. Between runners, Panova. A bit better than Centrefield as they work up the side. She's a Divas over on the inside. inside, followed then by Parvenu. Zulika just ahead of it, and then came Tantania. Drifting a long way back was Chisman, but has got in one off the rail, single red with it. Then Highgrove Rose and Fringes after the ordinary getaway, settles last of the 18, 15 off the lead. Along the back straight, 1,500 left to run. Poltro Miss and Panda Spectrum, they are the joint leaders. Grand Omaha dropped into a Butte spot third, outside of Naughty 44th on the rail. Followed then by Soverado, racing one off the fence, and Silver Sister, maybe three wide along the back straight. Solid Gold slipping up inside that pair, then another line of three. Fireball Miss three wide with Coa, Crathy Kirk the centre, and nestled inside that pair was the long shot She's a Diva. Then another line of three, Zulika. Panova centred between runners. Tantania over on the inside of that pair, followed then by Parvenu, Highgrove Rose, single red third last, Fringes second last, and Chispa is last of all. The Oaksfield make their way down the side to approach the 800 metres, and Poltro Miss currently making every post a winning post, leading Panda Spectrum by 3/4 of a length. Grand Omaha sitting pretty in third, Naughty 44th, then Silver Sister, Solid Gold, trying to work away from the rail. Soverado, Fireball Miss, single red travelling up into the picture but wide, then She's a Diva, well back Crathy Kirk. Panova is trapped in traffic trying to thread the needle. Parvenu threading the needle as well, then Zulika, Fringes, and Tantania went to the inside. Fully homeward bound of the Oaks, and Poltro Miss sneaked away, had a bit of a margin. Running on gamely is Fireball Miss. Fireball Miss hitting top gear, went to Poltro Miss and went by it. Panova gets out now and gives chase, but is it too late? Fireball Miss in front, 100 to go, has got the lead. Panova is trying hard, battling on Poltro Miss. It is Fireball Miss. Fireball Miss from the Oaks. Link Panova, Poltro Miss, Solid Gold fourth. Then came Highgrove Rose, Tartania, Soverado, Chispa, Grand Omaha, followed by Fringes, then Zulika, Parvenu, Naughty 40, She's a Diva, Silver Sister, Crathy Kirk, Panda Spectrum, and Single Red is last in the Queensland Oaks. Fireball Miss completes the Roses Oaks double. Declan Bates for Kieran Maher, emerging soon after straightening, and the race was really all over at about the 250 when Bates took Fireball Miss to the lead.
Hard not to disagree with the commentator there, although even he did have the audacity to talk over me in my own video. A very good performance there from Fireball Miss to take out the last Southern Hemisphere Classic of the Classic Watch 2026 cycle here in the middle of June. The Queensland Oaks held at Eagle Farm. I thought that was a pretty good performance from Poltro Miss. She got Poltro Miss as well in finishing third, but Fireball Miss and the Bivouac Side horse was easily, I thought, the best on the day, and that was a pretty good performance from Fireball Miss, I think, although our horse, Poltro Miss, in securing her second Oaks Place effort, clearly lost nothing in defeat. Obviously, my website would like to take these races out, but a total racing outsider like me, in the first four races that we've looked at in this classic review, my own little website has had placed horses in 3 of them. So it is worth remembering that for sure. We will round up the result now, I think, of the Queensland Oaks. A win on the day for Fireball Miss. Fireball Miss sired by Bivouac out of a mare called Femme Fireball, who herself was sired by Piero. Fireball Miss trained by Kieran Maher and ridden by Declan Bates. A racing post rating of 113, which is the worst we've looked at in this video so far, was good enough to take the race out. A 1 1/4 length victory. Second home on the day was Panova. I think she is a previous Oaks winner in this series that we've looked at. Panova sired by Trapeze Artist out of a mare called Love Me Quietly, who herself was sired by Trustin. Panova trained by Chris Waller and ridden by Ben Mellon. A racing post rating of 109 for finishing second. Third home on the day was the Classic Watch 26 horse. I thought she ran a nice race. Poltro Miss sired by Circus Maximus out of a mare called Tantalising, who herself was sired by Savabeel. Poltro Miss trained, another one, by Kieran Maher and ridden by Craig Williams. Poltro Miss, a racing post rating of 108 in securing her second Group 1 Oaks placed effort of the cycle. Fourth home on the day was Solid Gold, a horse sired by Saberbeal out of a mare called Graham, who herself was sired by O'Reilly. Solid Gold trained by Roger James and Robert Wellwood and ridden on the day by Tommy Berry. A race in post rating of 106 was gained by Solid Gold. Pretty interesting race though, I do think, even though the low figure in relation to some of the Northern Hemisphere races was good enough to take it out. 113 is by far and away the lowest that we've looked at in the races so far, but still a good performance from the Bivouac Side filly, trained by Kieran Marr and owned by Bennett Racing Property Limited, Peking et al. A good performance on the day. The next race we're going to take a look at is we're going to change hemispheres again, and we're going to go back to the UK. A day after the UK Oaks is obviously the UK Derby, one of the flagship races of the Classic Watch cycle. Classic Watch 26 only had 2 horses in the great race this year. I wasn't exactly impressed with the lineup it gave us ahead of the race. We had Maltese Cross, the Willie Haggis trained horse, running for us, and we also had the Ammo Racing owned Ancient Egypt, who I think is trained by Charlie Johnston. That was another one running for us. It's worth noting that this race is only a week after the French Derby, when Classic Watch 26 had 6 horses turn up. So we didn't really have the even spread that we sometimes get of our horses ahead of the Derby. So without further ado, it's time now to head back to Epsom and to take a look at the UK Derby. And then we will see what we think after the race.
For the 2026 Betfred Derby, and they are off. Poker was a little slow to go, so too A Taste of Glory. Rebel Rocker on the outside is ridden along, and Action is going forward and leads early now from Christmas Day. One of his stable companions, Item, in the pink cap, is quite close up as well. Ancient Egypt is amongst the leaders towards the far side with Rebel Rocker. Balzac in white sleeves, Maltese Cross on the inside as they complete a little right-hand turn and track across now towards the inside running rail. Further back, Bay of Brilliance, then Pierre Bonnard. Benvenuto Cellini is held up by Ryan Moore towards the back of the field, just behind James J. Braddock. A Taste of Glory out the back with Alderman as they continue to climbing all the way up to the 6 furlong marker. And Action takes them along here under last year's winning jockey Wayne Lorden, followed by Christmas Day in the pink colours. Rebel Rocker is 3 wide. Item on the inside. Then between runners is Ancient Egypt. They're followed by Balzac. Then Maltese Cross on the inside. Bay of Brilliance in midfield. Poker is driven along from James J. Braddock. Back in the field to Pierre Bonnard, and also Alderman out the back. Benvenuto Cellini is well back at this stage of the race. Still a long way to go. And out the back marker is A Taste of Glory. Swinging left-handed, and soon they'll be running downhill towards Tattenham Corner. Action leads the way a half length to Christmas Day in second. 2.5 lengths back then to Item on the inside of Ancient Egypt. Rebel Rocker out wide of Balzac. Then Maltese Cross on the inside in a pretty good position, followed by Bay of Brilliance and Alderman, James J. Braddock. Pierre Bonnard making ground towards the outside in the dark blue jacket as they begin the swing for home. Benvenuto Cellini's still got plenty to do from A Taste of Glory. Swinging up the home straight round Tattenham Corner. 3.5 furlongs left to go in the Betfred Derby. Action, Christmas Day. Item on the outside. Ancient Egypt. 1 or 2 of the runners, the main body coming down the centre. Action sticking to the far side, but now headed by Christmas Day. Item chasing those down the centre with a bit of work to do, headed by Maltese Cross and Bay of Brilliance. Pierre Bonnard running on well in the dark blue colours as they race down the straight. Then Alderman out very wide. James J. Braddock. Christmas Day is the one to catch. Maltese Cross second. Bay of Brilliance. James J. Braddock down the outside. It's Christmas Day and Ronan Whelan. It's Aidan O'Brien again. Maltese Cross trying to bridge the gap. It's a stamina sapping finish. Christmas Day by 3 or 4 lengths. It's Christmas Day on Derby Day. He wins the Betfred Derby. Maltese Cross second. James J. Braddock maybe tight for fourth between Bay of Brilliance and Alderman.
A terrific performance on the day from the Aidan O'Brien train Christmas Day. to take out the UK Derby at Epsom. I think he was a very worthy winner on the day. Classic Watch 26 horse Maltese Cross finishing the log across the line in second. Third on the day, James J. Braddock. And then a good battle for fourth and fifth at the end that we just saw there. But there can be no doubt about the winner, can there, on the day? A fantastic performance from the Aidan O'Brien trained Christmas Day to take out the UK Derby at Epsom in what I thought was a fantastic performance on the day. No excuses at all about it. I do think Christmas Day was by far and away the worthiest winner on the day, which is why the horse managed to take the race out. Second again for my own little website, classicwatch26.great/site.net, courtesy of the Willie Haggis trained Maltese Cross, who has ran a terrific race as well. Let's round the race up, shall we? And the winner, as we know, was Christmas Day. Christmas Day sired by Camelot out of a mare called Beauty, who herself was sired by See the Stars. Christmas Day trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ronan Whelan. A racing post rating of 119 was deemed good enough to take out this year's UK Derby. Second home on the day, beaten 2 3/4 lengths, was Maltese Cross. The first Classic Watch 26 horse home, Maltese Cross sired by See the Stars out of a mare called Nabatea, a German-bred mare sired by Camelot. So Camelot sired the winner and has had the dam sire of the second. Maltese Cross trained by William Haggis and ridden by Tom Marquand. Racing post rating on the day, 114 in chasing home the winner. Third home on the day was James J. Braddock. James J. Braddock sired by Zarak out of a dam called Burkina Faso, who herself was sired by Mukadram. James J. Braddock trained by Joseph Patrick O'Brien and ridden by Dylan Brown Monagle. A racing post rating on the day of 110. Fourth home on the day just was Bay of Brilliance. Bay of Brilliance sired by New Bay out of a mare called Incroyable, who herself was sired by Singspiel. Bay of Brilliance trained by Ralph Beckett and ridden by Hector Crouch. A racing post rating of 107 on the day for finishing fourth in the UK Derby. They were very well spread out, all of them, weren't they? It's fair to say. The other Classic Watch horse home was actually finished in 8th place. 8th on the day, beaten 13 1/4 lengths, Ancient Egypt, trained by Charlie Johnston and ridden by David Egan, owned by Ammo Racing. The horse sired by Frankel out of a mare called Atone, who herself was sired by Oasis Dream. Ancient Egypt allocated a racing post rating of only 98 for a 13 1/4 length defeat in the Derby. The main talking point, we've got to talk about it before we wrap this race up, was what happened to the favourite. I think it was the favourite on the day anyway, Benvenuto Cellini. Doesn't even tell you the price of the horse now, because the horse was totally voided. Well beaten on the day, beaten 28.5 lengths on the day. The Ryan Moore ridden Aidan O'Brien trained horse was actually declared a non-runner due to something that happened to the horse in the stalls. You know, just it was very. It caused a lot of controversy at the time. You know, I don't tend to get tied down in manufactured controversy, so we'll skip on from that. But fair to say that the horse did not run very well in that race, beaten 28.5 lengths on the day. Benvenuto Cellini, and not taking nothing away from the winner Christmas Day, who I thought was a very worthy winner on the day. He ran well. The last race we're going to take a look at in this video, we're going to head back to the USA as well now to take a look at their final race on their official US Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes, which again this year was held at Saratoga. I do think this might be the last year the race is held at Saratoga before it returns to Belmont next year. We've already had a classic winner out in the US. Napoleon Solo took out the Preakness. But unfortunately, we had no runners in the Belmont this year. Napoleon Solo didn't turn up. And we had a few horses in the Derby, the Kentucky Derby, that never turned up. And a few horses that missed the Kentucky Derby through one reason or another, where this race seemed to come a little bit too early for them. So as a consequence of that, the Classic Watch 26 had no runners in the third US Classic of the season, the Belmont Stakes, which is quite unusual. But it is what it is, it's only 1 year. So again, we will use bloodhorse.com for this Belmont Stakes video, and I hope the volume is a little bit better. We'll see there, it's top. There's nothing I can do. This is the maximum volume that Bloodhorse are allowing us. So without further ado, Bloodhorse, a site that never likes opening up in full screen. I try it once, it never accepts it. I always have to press it twice. The 2 million Belmont Stakes over 1.25 miles, which isn't the official distance of the race. It's a 1.5 mile race when it's held at Belmont. So without further ado, let's take a look at this year's final USA Dirt Classic, the Belmont Stakes, and see what we think.
For the third and final time, it's the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga Racecourse. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, and Power Shift sprints out of the gate. So too Growth Equity. On the inside, Vitruvian Man is in third. Chief Wallaby fourth. Renegade not far behind, 5 lengths off the pace. Emerging Market inches up on the outside of Commandment. Otinho is second to last, and Golden Tempo once again takes his place at the back of the field. Power Shift will set the tempo, leads the way into the clubhouse turn by 3/4 of a length, with Growth Equity a clear-cut second. Vitruvian Man is in third, and they are followed by Emerging Market. The opening quarter went in a very moderate 23 4/5 seconds. It's another 2 lengths back. Chief Wallaby is kept on the outside of Otinho. Then comes Renegade and Commandment stride for stride, and Jose Ortiz takes the Kentucky Derby winner, Golden Tempo, onto the rail, and he's 12 lengths off the pace. It's Power Shift on the inside, and Growth Equity head and head. The half went in 48 1/5 seconds, coming to the half-mile pole in the Belmont Stakes, with Vitruvian Man holding his spot in third. Then it's Emerging Market, fourth and 3.5 off them. Chief Wallaby will go 3 wide outside of him. Now Renegade is called on. He's starting to make some headway. He's on the inside. Will need to find some room, but he's very much in the thick of it as Growth Equity has taken the lead in 1:12 1/5 seconds. Growth Equity short lead. Chief Wallaby's making a big move from behind. Golden Tempo is coming along with Commandment as the field turns for home. On the inside, Growth Equity is just in front. Chief Wallaby comes to him. Out in the center of the racetrack, Commandment's running a giant race. Renegade in between, and Golden Tempo. Golden Tempo, Renegade, Commandment on the outside. Golden Tempo from last to first has to fend off Commandment in the final strides. Golden Tempo pulls away late. Golden Tempo has won the Belmont Stakes. Commandment ran lights out in second. Renegade was third. And Cherie DeVoe writes another chapter in her outstanding story.
What a performance there from the Kentucky Derby winner of 2026 to follow up in the Belmont Stakes this year, held, as the commentator confirmed, for the final time at Saratoga. They came down the straight, and it was Golden Tempo who had by far and away the most in hand. A protracted battle in the closing stages with Commandment, but as you see, for Golden Tempo pulling away in the closing stages to record his second classic victory.
Was first, 7 Commandment finished second, 4 Renegade was third, and 3 Chief Wallaby finished fourth.
Again, the control commentator having the audacity there to talk over me in my own video. These things are what they are. They're very rude. We use them and then we just want them to be quiet. But yeah, a very good race, I think, without any shadow of a doubt. Sadly, no Classic Watch 26 participation in the race though. But before we end the video, we can wrap up the result now. The winner on the day was the Kentucky Derby winner, Golden Tempo. Golden Tempo sired by Curlin out of a mare called Karumba, who herself was sired by Bernardini. Golden Tempo trained by Cherie DeVoe and ridden by Jose Ortiz on the day. 1 1/4 length victory, and the highest figure in the video to secure the race, 122. I think that was also actually the level Constitution River managed to run to in the very first race in the video. Second home on the day, running a fantastic race, was the Waffman Racing owned Commandment. Ran a good race. Commandment, sired by Into Mischief, out of a mare called Sippican Harbour, who herself was sired by Orb. Commandment, trained by Brad Cox and ridden by John Velasquez, running to a very good racing post rating of 117 on the day, finishing second, beaten 1 1/4 lengths. Third home on the day, 5 1/4 lengths back, was Renegade. Renegade, sired by Into Mischief, a 2-3 for Into Mischief in the race, out of a mare called Spice is Nice, who herself is sired by Curlin, who sired home the winner. Curlin, Renegade, trained by Todd Pletcher and ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr., 5 1/4 lengths victory and 109 the racing post rating of Renegade for finishing third. Fourth home in the race was Chief Wallaby. Chief Wallaby, a horse sired by Constitution, out of a mare called Alla Lucy, who herself was sired by Medaglia d'Oro. Chief Wallaby, trained by William Mott and ridden by Junior Alvarado. Chief Wallaby, a racing post rating of 103 for finishing fourth. Just a shame that classicwatch26.great/site.net could have no runners in the final classic we're taking a look at in this video. So it's been an absolute pleasure to bring these 6 classics to you, but I think it is about time now we can think about ending the video. Thank you very much to everybody who's decided to watch this video with me. I hope you all enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I will be back shortly with some other content, but before we go, what can I offer you in this video? I can offer you an opportunity to subscribe to my own personal YouTube channel. That way you will not miss any videos I make if you enable your in-app or desktop notifications correctly in YouTube. You can make it so the app sends you notifications of when I have uploaded a video. So that way, every time you log in to YouTube, there should be a notification there saying that I've uploaded a video. You have to do a bit of work with it, so I've been told. You have to go into your notifications manager and click a bell and change it to always notify, I think. But the few people that have asked me about it, I've got about a good 170 subscribers on the YouTube channel. A few of them have asked me and they have confirmed to me that it does work, so they are happy that they are receiving the videos, and it's up to them whether they choose to watch them or not, isn't it? But it does work. Another thing I can offer you at the end of this video is a chance to look at the Classic Watch review playlist. This is not the first Classic review video of the Classic Watch 26 cycle. There have been others. So what I will do is I will link you to the Classic Watch 26 review playlist. That way you can stay up to date like we are. We've been watching them all the time, really, from the Southern Hemisphere out in Australia up to this point of June 2026 in the UK. Plenty more races to come that I am going to bring you, but that there are other Classic Watch review videos in the playlist. So I will link you to the Classic Watch 26 review video as well to appear after this video. Also, I will mention again, don't forget the Patreon, will you? Newman Racing over on Patreon. 3 very interesting videos uploaded to there last week if you're into Southern Hemisphere racing. Also including for the first time this year, Argentina has been included on the Classic Watch 27 cycle. Where can you find both sites? classicwatch26.great/site.net, classicwatch27.great/site.net, although that site only has the one horse on it currently. But all the horses have been released on Patreon up to this point. That's about it, really. I've not really got anything else to tell you about, really. So I think it's time to end the video. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch it. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Have a fantastic upcoming week. It's a bit warm here in the UK, usual summer weather that for some reason these days is portrayed as a heat wave. Very strange what goes on in the world these days, isn't it? But we tend not to worry ourselves about that. It just goes on all around us, and the winners keep coming. Well, only just the one classic taken out in this video, but a few placed efforts. It's safe to say that they have ran very well indeed on the whole, the horses that we've looked at in this video, although Amelia Earhart was a bit of a disappointment. Right, I'll end this video here now. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves and your loved ones. And I hope to be back at some point in the future with some more content, either here on my own personal YouTube channel or over on Patreon. But for now, take care, everybody, and look after yourselves. Goodbye.